What's going on, you guys? My name is Morgan, and welcome back to another video. So I'm finally kind of getting the hang of this, where I'm going to position the lamp and everything and the camera. It's still taking me a little bit. I got a glare right here, but it's starting to look a little bit better, so we're getting somewhere. But in today's video, we're going to talk about common misconceptions about, well, dogs in general. And today's conversation and today's topic are teacups. I hate this word because there's no such thing. And I'm probably going to get, I always get a lot of arguments over this. There's no such thing as a teacup dachshund, a teacup chihuahua, a teacup Yorkie, none of that. Teacups are not a size. In dachshunds, there are miniature and standard, which is AKC standard. Now, there's a thing called a tweenie, which is not AKC which is not AKC standard. A tweenie is between a standard and a miniature. Tweenie was invented because there's no in between with the two. That there's only miniature and there's only standard. But there are those sizes like Fuzzy that are in between. Fuzzy's 13 pounds, which doesn't qualify for a mini or a standard. So there are those in betweens, which is why they call them a tweenie, even though it is not AKC standard. Now, teacup. Teacup is a totally different conversation compared to a tweenie. So a teacup has been used just to qualify how small they are, and they make them sound exotic. So a teacup typically has a lot of health problems, and that goes for teacup chihuahuas, teacup dachshunds, which I've been hearing that term a lot, and I try to correct everybody on the term teacup dachshunds because teacup dachshunds are not a thing, and I hate that term. A teacup dachshund in standard points are dachshunds that are, I guess, 5 pounds and under, which in AKC standard, now in AKC standards, a miniature is 11 pounds and under, okay? So it doesn't matter how small your dachshund is. It'll never be a teacup dachshund. Miniatures dachshunds are 11 pounds and under. So you're wanting a 4 or 5 pound dachshund, which it is a thing. I know somebody who has a 4 or 5 pound dachshund and Cappuccino 6. It is not qualified as a teacup. Again, I'm going to say this till like I'm blue in the face. There is no such thing as a teacup dachshund. And I hate that term. It's a backyard breeder term to make the dog sound exotic. Now, most of the teacup dogs that are qualified as teacup, or what people call teacup, they usually come with a boatload of health problems. That is because they were bred for size in terms of making the smallest dog possible. And teacups, again, are not a thing. Dachshunds, while a lot of people do enjoy miniature dachshunds and standard dachshunds, miniature dachshunds are usually the more sought after because of their size compared to a standard size dachshund, which I have. And then a friend of mine has a standard size dachshund that is probably about 20, 30 pounds. But the size of the miniature is what makes them really sought after because they are so small. But a miniature dachshund, again, is 11 pounds and under. So it doesn't matter if your dachshund is 4 or 5 pounds. It is not a teacup. And I've heard teacup chihuahuas, which they are very, very tiny, fit in the palm of your hands. And Freya, for example, Freya's about 5 pounds. She had a little dachshund puppy that was probably, it was a runt. And I don't know how, I think it grew to be about 4 or 5 pounds, the same thing as Freya. That is still considered a miniature dachshund. That is not a teacup dachshund. That is not anything like that. So that term, I hate that term. It still qualifies as a miniature dachshund and not a teacup because a teacup, again, is not a thing. Teacups come with a boatload of health problems, and they just use the word teacup so they can charge you more. So that goes for micro Frenchies, micro bullies, exotic bullies, which I've never seen an exotic bully that's actually well-bred without a boatload of problems, and their elbows stick out so bad. It's just ugly to look at. It looks like a gargoyle. I hate the look of an exotic bully. But anyways, teacups, again, are not a thing. Teacup Yorkies, they're so small that, again, a lot of health problems, whether it's a size problem, a spine problem, a brain problem, which they can have brain problems, organ problems, which includes heart failure, organ failure, kidney failure, which that goes into organ failure again, limb problems. I mean, the list goes on in terms of what is considered a teacup. But in most cases, teacups have a load of problems. But they are just a term so they can charge you more for your dog. Because there's no and never will be such thing as a teacup. In terms of chihuahuas, all you have are chihuahuas. And I don't know a lot about chihuahuas because they're not a dog I breed. Because they are not a breed that I breed or have much to do with. I believe Applehead and Deerhead go into the same qualifications. I believe I can't remember which one is more standard, whether it's the Applehead or the Deerhead Chihuahua. But I do know that it's a term that a lot of backyard breeders use in terms of Chihuahuas. But it goes the same as teacups. Teacups are a backyard breeder term that they use to charge you more. There's no such thing. There will never be a thing as a teacup dachshund, a teacup chihuahua, or teacup anything really, because it's just, again, a term. While it might be a size term because they fit in a teacup, I think that's where it came from, because they fit in a teacup. Miniature dachshunds also do that too. They can be so small, which I have a friend that has a very small dachshund. She's a miniature. She is registered, but her size is small. But she could fit in a teacup when she was a puppy as well. But she is not qualified as a teacup because, again, there's no such thing as a teacup dachshund. She's qualified as a miniature dachshund between 4, 5, and maybe 6 pounds on the rough side. But again, that's the same with Freya. Same with Cappuccino. Cappuccino is not considered a teacup dachshund. Cappuccino is a miniature dachshund because of his size. I had somebody message me today saying, hey, I want a teacup dachshund that's between 4 and 5 pounds. I have to correct everybody because there's no such thing as a teacup dachshund. And I hate when people consider that a teacup. I don't want them going around saying, hey, she breeds teacup dachshunds. Hey, I got a teacup dachshund from her. Because that brings in a lot of problems. Because, again, there's no such thing as a teacup dachshund. So I try to correct everybody. It is a miniature dachshund through and through. It will never be a teacup dachshund. There's no such thing as a teacup dachshund. Stop making the breed standard worse by calling it a teacup dachshund. And again, no such thing. So stop calling it that. There will never be a teacup dachshund. Rue is like maybe 7 pounds. She's small, but she is not a teacup dachshund. Freya's in the kennel because she is in heat, and I will not be bringing her out. Venus, who is a small dachshund, she probably weighs about 3, 4 pounds now. She might be 6 months. She is not a teacup dachshund. She is a miniature dachshund. By AKC standards, she's a miniature dachshund. Stop using the term teacup in Chihuahuas and Yorkies and dachshunds and anything. Because there's no such thing as a teacup. Well, okay, teacups, it's an inanimate object, obviously, but stop using it to describe your dogs. There's no such thing as a teacup. There will never be such thing as a teacup. So stop qualifying dachshunds as teacups. But again, if you have questions, ask your breeder. Or, you could have, if you talk to somebody, a breeder that calls a dog a teacup, they are not a ethically bred breeder. They're not an ethical breeder. There is no such thing as a teacup. Do not call dachshunds teacups. Do not call any breed teacups. It makes the breed standard worse. There's no such thing. They're miniature and they're standard. And then outside of the AKC standard, there's a tweenie. And that is it. There's no such thing as a teacup. And AKC standards, again, they're under 11 pounds. That is a miniature dachshund. I will correct everybody till I'm blue in the face that there is no such thing as a teacup dachshund. I've heard that term twice in the last 2 days. So stop calling them that. There's no such thing. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as usual, you guys, I'll see you guys next time in the next video. See you guys later. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button. And how many times have you heard the term teacup dachshund or teacup and dogs? Leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys later.